Wow, look what I found today. Dear YouTube viewer, today in my garden something really interesting happened that I would like to share with all of you. I got the opportunity to study an Eurasian sparrowhawk, scientific name Accipitier nisus. In this episode of Nature Vlogs. Please stay tuned, I hope you'll enjoy it. A bloody mess in my garden. Yep. So the story goes like this. I was reading a book until I heard a loud bang against my window. I went to check it out and found a bloody murder scene. Fortunately, as a crazy internet biologist, I love witnessing murder. The Eurasian sparrowhawk, Accipitier nisus, is a beautiful bird of prey that is relatively common in most parts of Europe. Although you do have to be lucky to witness these animals from such a close distance. It is reportedly common in woodland, forest, farmland and urban areas with hedges and wooded patches, and sometimes even hunts in gardens. The sparrowhawk is adequately named because it prefers to hunt small and medium-sized birds, although it also has a taste for pigeons. It has a very peculiar hunting strategy in which it ambushes prey quickly with a surprise attack. Favorite prey items are tits, sparrows, starlings, thrushes and finches. They can navigate quickly through the vegetation, fences, hedgerows and shrubbery. It doesn't just capitalize on its speed, but rather also on agility. Although these predators often prefer to catch prey much smaller than them, in some cases they decide to take down birds more similar to their own size, in which case a struggle may ensue. When eating, Eurasian sparrowhawks pluck the feathers and usually eat the breast muscles of their prey first. In my garden there is a colony of Eurasian collared doves, and this individual sparrowhawk often returns to our garden to hunt them. Do you see this grease stain on the window? This is where the pigeon slammed into our window. Believe it or not, but this sparrowhawk actually chases pigeons into our windows, only to grab them when they hit the windows. This is why I heard a loud bang against the window. This bird seems to be very familiar with my garden. Sparrowhawks are well camouflaged and prefer to observe and study their prey from a hidden location, waiting them to come closer. Once they are within range, the bird rushes down, usually from a higher position, and chases down the unsuspecting prey. But it prefers to avoid a chase altogether by attempting to dive down on unsuspecting animals. While they are common today, this species experienced hard times in the past. Eurasian sparrowhawk populations in Europe crashed in the second half of the 2nd century. The decline coincided with the introduction of cyclodieldrin insecticides, aldrin, dieldrin and heptachlor, used as seed dressings in agriculture in 1956. The chemicals accumulated in the bodies of grain-eating birds and had two effects on top predators like the Eurasian sparrowhawk but also the peregrine falcon. The shells of eggs they laid were too thin, causing them to break during incubation, and the birds were also poisoned by lethal concentrations of these deadly insecticides. Around 1975, these insecticides were banned, and the species has finally begun to recover again. Still, this should be monitored to prevent something like this from ever happening again. You probably wonder how I managed to approach and film the bird from such a close distance. Here is my secret, a hole in my fence, It allows me to spy on the bird as it eats. And then it began to rain. Interestingly, although the bird seemed to be mildly bothered by the rain, shaking its feathers and looking startled, it didn't leave. This makes sense since these birds only manage to grab a prey item once in every few days' time. In the wild they are very shy animals that are easily scared away, but once they captured food, they will become very defensive of it. Many birds of prey have to defend their food from potential thieves or territorial birds that don't like their presence in general. For a creature that only eats once every few days, they have to make the most out of every meal, and a single meal can make the difference between life or death in some cases. Now after a while, the sun came back. The bird stopped eating, but was still resting on top of its prey. It turns out that these birds can sit on their food for hours, digesting it, only to begin eating again when there is more space in their stomach. They only leave once they are completely gorged or scared away by something. This strategy allows them to make the most out of every prey, so that it can sustain them should they have to go a few days without food again. However, after about 4 hours of eating and plucking, finally, the bird flew away. The remains tell us that this was an Eurasian-colored dove, common in my garden. Sorry for the bloody crime scene, but nature isn't roses and moonshine, it is death, life and survival. And here is the evidence that the bird comes here often. Old remains of another pigeon of about 1 week ago. I get the feeling that this offender may return to this crime scene someday. And what a windy day it is too. See ya.